so hot in here. You're right, guys. What is this lorry doing? You fucking toss. Right, guys, I might as well talk to you now while we're sat in all this traffic. What's a nice Mini? Oh my god, there's so many cars. So today's video, I thought I've got to go to the warehouse, deliver some car parts, as you can see, to go out for customers that are amazing and support the business. So, I want to talk to you today about my previous cars, the cars I've owned. I thought I saw Jamie's video on his, and I thought, oh, that's a cool video. I'd like to do one of those for sure. And I found it really interesting hearing about the cars he owned, why he bought them, why he sold them. So I thought I'd do one for you. So it's really hard while I need to get out of this junction. Right, so let's start off with my first ever car I owned. It was not a Honda. It was when I was 14. There was a maroon Mark IV Ford Escort for sale for £250. And I remember being like, oh my god, I have £250. Like, I was 14. My parents obviously have some land, as you've seen in our videos, and they agreed, like, they would rather me know how to control a car before I learned to drive. So I had this amazing Mark IV Escort. It was a 1.6 gear, I think. What gear, or was it GX? I can't remember. It was something pretty cool. It had alloy wheels. It was the plainest maroon colour you'll ever see in the history of the world. Honestly, it was something to marvel at. But I loved it. I learned just to drive like a fucking hooner in it, and it was just so much fun. Ended up getting rid of that, like just scrapping it, I think, because it broke. I think it broke. I can't really remember. It was so long ago now. Like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to find a picture. I might have to take a photo of me at my mum's house. I might have to find that before we put this video online. I got my first ever car that my parents bought me. It was amazing. Like, I nearly cried when I saw it, because they lied to me and said I wasn't allowed a Honda, because all I wanted was a friggin' Honda. I'd grown up living on Honda tech, and I was just like, I just want to be part of this culture. And they got me a 1.6 Honda Civic Sport in vivid blue pearl, and oh my god, it was the best day of my life when that car pulled up, because I didn't know. And I went to the garage with my dad, where it was a surprise, and they were like, oh yeah, you want to go up the back while we service your car, my mum's CRV and that. Because mum's CRV had a service on, so we were going up, and we also knew the director of Honda in Ipswich, so we went up there, and I just thought it was a normal little day out with my dad, go look at some cars. That's what I liked doing anyway. And they were like, yeah, go up the gates are open at the back if you want to see if we've got anything up the back. And there, sat in the back, Dad was like, oh, what do you reckon of that? Blue Civic Sport. And I was like, that is literally my dream first car. Like, I said it's going to take me a few years before I'm going to be able to afford something as cool as that. And he went, well, it's yours. And I nearly cried. I swear on my life, it was the best fucking day ever. Yeah, I'll never ever forget that. And hopefully one day I'll be in a position where I can do that for my kids, because if I ever have one, I've got to meet a girl first. But fuck, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So I had that car, and I loved it. Like, oh my god, I never wanted to sell it. I was like, this is the best car ever. Just ever. The best car ever. I know it's slow, I know it's not a Type R, but I don't care, because it's blue and it's just super sick. I lowered it on some tying coilovers that I bought off of some guy that absolutely hated me, and I didn't really understand anything at the time. And he hated me, but I was like trying to be his friend because he was cool. I thought he was kind of cool, but he obviously hated me, all because of girls. And yeah, I bought these coilovers off him. I paid way too much money. You know, I was fucking naive and stupid. And then he set them all to hard, and he didn't tell me they had adjustable dampening on. I didn't know. I just knew coilovers made your car go low. I didn't know nothing back then. And I drove around on super hard setting, and it was just fucking shit, to be completely honest. It was horrible. And I didn't care. I loved it. I absolutely loved that car. Oh, actually, what am I doing? I need to be in that lane. Why am I sitting here waiting like peasants? And I loved that car. I was planning on like keeping it forever. You can ask Harv. I literally was like, I'm K swapping it. We're gonna make it a Type R. It's gonna be a blue Type R. and I'm going to be super stoked for life and super happy. And then I was like super down because of some stuff that had gone on. I'm not going to go into it because it's in the past now. I was super down, super upset. Pulled out of work one night. I leant over, put my music up loud because I had a banging sound system in it, as you can imagine. I had a banging sound system, super loud. I pulled out, got about 500 meters from work, and a deer just ran out. A deer the size of a fucking rhinoceros, by the way, ran out in front of me, and it just like fucking wrecked the car, like pure write-off. It was ridiculous, just pure fucked. And I've got a picture of that I'll chuck up. And I was absolutely gutted, like full on, like sent me into like a mortal depression. And I didn't know what to do with myself. I drove around in my mum's CRV for a month, I think, while we sorted out what I was going to do. We were looking at cars. I couldn't afford anything that I actually wanted. I wanted like a Type R, as you can imagine, but at 18 with a wrecked whip, you can't afford a Type R. To insure one anyway. So the car I got, like, I agree with my dad that my parents didn't want me to buy an old Honda. I was looking at like EM1s and stuff because I was like, wow, they're cool. They didn't want me to have anything old because of obviously what had happened already. They were panicking, saying if you get an old car and you crash, you're going to die. Subsequently now, I don't own a car newer than 2001, but I think they've just given up all hope on me anyway. So the car we then got, because I worked at Honda at the time, my dad's been a big customer of Honda in the past, like for the Ipswich branch, or for Chris mainly, the guy that's the director of it, so we always go back and buy from him. He sorted us out a real sweet deal on an ex-demonstrator FN1 Type S in bright orange. Now I feel so ungrateful saying this, but when I got that car I fucking hated it, because to me it wasn't a cool Honda. It was like, oh my god, I've got the Honda that nobody likes. Because back then, on like Civic Life and stuff, no one liked the FN, and I was like, oh man, everyone's gonna make fun of me. But it was such a nice car, like driving it around, I was like, fuck, this is such a nice car. Glass roof was the best thing about it as well. It had a full panoramic roof. So, driving it around, I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna get coilovers for this. Ordered up some KW V1s that were banging, they were really nice. Got those on, had it super dumped. I'm sure I'll find some pictures somewhere of this. It was so low, like, it was just rad. And then I got kicked off of CivInfo, the stupid website that's for 8th gen owners, because, like, the owner of the website was like, I've got more money than you. Who the fuck says that to a 19-year-old? Like, are you fucking dumb? So I just said, your wife's fat, because I thought it was funny. And then I got banned because Harv put loads of gay porn on their website. And subsequently now, we're fine, you know, we've grown up. But that was funny. That car, I slammed it, I put my 17-inch Ragas on it. I had it all colour-coded, and it had the GP kit on it, so it looked fucking badass, man. I won't have anybody tell me that car wasn't cool. Like, it was super nice. Once again, I think I had my sound system put in it and stuff, and it was just super nice. And I remember just loving that car. I was part of like the street legal club back then, and that was like really where I grew as a person and like met some of my best mates now I still have today. So that was super cool. I loved that car. I then went and did a little stint living in America, just on one of these summer camp things, and I never wanted to come home, and I was pretty much set that I was going to try and marry an American girl. So when I was out in America, I met a girl from New Zealand, because that's what you do, and ended up coming home. When I turned 21, I was going to be able to buy a Type R. I knew I was going to be able to insure a Type R. I was earning pretty good money doing what I was doing back home anyway, and I was like, look, I don't care if the insurance is fucking $3 grand. I'm fucking not having this anymore. I'm having a Type R. This is bullshit. I'm having a Type R. So I sold the FN. Oh yeah, I sold the FN to some guy who just come and ripped my pants down for it because he knew I wanted to get rid of it. Oh my god! Fuck's sake! No indication. Well done, you fucking twat. I sold the FN and lost loads of money on it, but I did get enough money together for my first Type R, and I wanted a red Type R DC5, and I was like, that is what I want, so I bought a black one. The black one, it was black, it was a 2004 54 plate, and I got it with 18 18,000 miles on the clock. I think 18,000 or 15,000. It was fucking amazing. To this day, I have never owned a nicer car than that car. It was fucking lovely. Black interior. That's such an understated colour combo as well, by the way, for a DC5. It looked fucking badass. Why is it another dickhead in a 1 Series behind me on the fucking way of this road? Oh my god! Fucking cunts, mate. So, yeah, the black DC5. I remember the day when I picked it up. It was the elation going through my body, driving it home thinking, oh my god, I am in a DC5 Type R. That's all I can remember thinking. Like this, to me, at 21, yearning for one of these cars for so long. Because I tried to buy 2 already and neither sale went through because of the insurance. So when I picked that car up, man, oh my god, I took it on a test drive, but I didn't know what was happening. I was like, oh my god, I was so stoked. Like, I was just so happy, and that's the honest like truth. I just was so happy, and I loved that car. I had a lot of fun in it. I mean, there's some things I can't say on camera, but ask Peck. That's all I can really say. Like, when I had that car, I kind of become like best pals with Peck. Now one of my best, you know, I consider him family, Peck, and we had some fun being naughty and that. Not me and him together. We didn't get gay, but like we we had some fun, like just being dicks. It was funny as fuck. And that car had the police turn up at my house. It had council meetings on how to get rid of the problem car, and it was just like super funny as like a 21-year-old, just being naughty as fuck the whole time. And I was just literally living the dream. I was self-employed. I weren't doing 621 at the time as a company. I was only doing 621 as a blog. So that car I took around the country. I took around Europe. I went to Zandvoort in it. I did my first ever track day in it in Holland. And the noise that I had a J's Racing 70RR system on it with a J's Racing manifold, and that thing was just fucking apocalyptically loud. Like, it was horrendous, but it was so funny, and it was just, I loved it. It made me so happy, and yeah, it just made me so happy. But I'm not gonna lie, after the police come around and said that if they catch me one more time, then they're gonna take the car off me, it's blacklisted or some shit, they're gonna crush it, I don't know. They gave me all the scare tactics, and it worked. I sold the DC5, a spur of the moment, I traded it in for a yellow GT4 350Z, which was the gravest error I've ever made in car ownership. Oh my god, that was fucking shit. I also need to tell you guys, there's like loads of cars I'm going to tell you about at the end that are like project cars that never happened. So I thought I'd just reel off the main cars. So the 350Z, what a shitter that was. Man, oh man, that car was fucking gross. I hated it. Like, I'm sure if you own a 350Z, I'm sure you love it or whatever, like, but for me it just didn't work. It wasn't the Honda go-kart handling. I thought 300 brake horsepower rear-wheel drive was gonna be fucking rad. Instead it was like trying to drive a 7.5 ton lorry. That's the way I saw it. I hated it. I owned it for 2.5 months. I drove it for about 3 weeks. I ended up parking it down the side of my parents' house and using my mum's Toyota Land Cruiser as a car to drive around instead, because I preferred driving that than I did the 350Z. I thought it sucked. I honestly, I was like, no. I was so scared to tell my dad that I was going to sell it, because my dad's one of these guys that he understands, like, oh, you need to borrow a little bit of money, that's fine, you know, as long as you pay me back, I don't mind. So I instead of borrowing from a bank, I normally borrow for him. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was paying him back for this car, and I said to him, oh, I fucked up. I fucked up, I hate it. And he was like, well, sell it and get something else. That was his excuse. He was just like, sell it and get something else. I don't want you to be unhappy, you know, cars are your life, do whatever you need to do. So I bought another Integra, DC5 number 2. This thing I bought because everyone on ITR DC5 were like, oh, that car's so fucking good, you should buy a good one if you're going to buy it second hand. This car is so nice, it's such a good example. So I just kind of went there like, yeah, alright, cool, I'm buying it regardless, because we went and looked at a red one that was fucking shit. It was so pink and horrible. Found a white one on the way home from that, and we just diverted and went and looked at that, and I ended up buying it there and then. It was shit. It was a bit rusty at the start, and I was like, oh, it's fine, I'll get that sorted, it's an old car, whatever. And it was a shed, it was a fucking shed, that car. I blew up the engine. I don't think it was my fault, I think it was the guy that owned it before me's fault, but whatever. You know, the engine blew up regardless of whose fault it was. And I was without a car for 6 months, driving around in the Toyota, and it was just, I was just like, why have I spent all this money? I spent $3.5 grand having a new engine, completely fabricated and built with all FD2R parts, so the compression was slightly higher, so the car was better basically. I got the car back, and I drove it around for a little while, and it was fine, I loved it, it was fast, whatever. Then I was like, right, I want to get the bodywork sorted, and I ordered all these bodywork panels from Honda, and it was costing me like £3,000. I was like, fucking, that was a lot of money. Get off. The steering rack went in it as well, that's what happened, and I was like, do you know what, fuck this car, I'm over it. So I had the steering rack replaced, stuck it up for sale, fucking dirt cheap for what, the money that I'd put into it and the amount of parts that were on it. I know the guy that bought it off me cried a bit because he was like, oh, it was a shed. I told you it was a shed. That's why you paid $7.5 grand for it. For a car with a brand new fucking engine and about $8 grand's worth of fucking mods on it. So, like, that is why I don't feel bad about it, because I sold that car for way less than what it was worth, in my opinion. I could have parted that car out and made a good 12 G's, I think. So, whatever. I sold it, and then I borrowed some money again, because actually no, did I borrow money? No, I bought a BMW because my other business was doing alright. Bought a BMW. I was like, I'm gonna get a brand new car, and it's gonna be fucking well nice. I bought an X-Demo that had also had another owner. It was 12 months old when I bought it. A 325i M Sport with every extra. It was white. It was a 2-door coupe. It had the 19-inch wheels on it. It was an auto, semi-auto thing. Fuck me, was it cool, man? Like, that car was so nice. It was so nice, and I owned that for 2.5 years. At the same time that I owned that, 3 months later, I was like, I need another Honda in my life. This is fucking lame as shit. Like, it'd been winter, so I didn't really care that much. I picked it up in November. February came, I went and bought the EG6 that looked like this, and that I'll talk about the EG6 in a minute. I'd rather talk about the BMW now, because I know you guys don't give a shit about the BMW. I love that car. At the same time that I got the BMW though, I started dating what became my first serious relationship. I started dating a girl. I fell in love with her. Oh my god, she was so beautiful. I thought, shit, I'm fucking hitting the jackpot here. But so, you know, as things don't work out, I very much segregated myself from my friends because I wanted things to work with this girl. 2.5 years later, she's now, okay, I'm not even gonna say, but you know, she's moved on and I am on my own and I'm doing alright, I think. It really harmed me though, not having my car life at the same time, and I tried my best. The Honda diaries were all filmed while I was going through that, but as you saw, I got fatter and fatter and fatter, and I'm not, you can't hide that shit, you know, I'm not embarrassed about it either. Like, it happened. Like, I got in a relationship, I segregated myself, I stopped going to the gym, I stopped doing things that I enjoyed a lot, and I basically was like, well, I've done it once this month, that's enough, you know, I can do this, I can do that, and it was shit, man. Like, it was just fucking shit. But don't get me wrong, I don't want to go into the relationship side of stuff, but I had a good time with her as well. It wasn't like a fucking awful thing. We ended on a fairly good note, so I guess that's okay. The EG6 though, oh my god, that car is the love of my life. I'd always wanted an EG, but I was terrified to buy one because of how fucking dangerous they are. Like, they have no safety at all. You crash one of them, you're likely to get fucking severely hurt or die. So I was like, right, I want an EG. I'm getting myself an EG. I went and picked up this EG that obviously you guys have now seen is nowhere near as nice as what I thought it was going to be. And yeah, so picked up the EG and we've progressively got to where we are today, where it's being cut apart. But it will come back and it will be fucking sick. I want it to be a car that satisfies every single one of my car guy needs. It needs to be just the right car. I love that little car. I sticked it up so bad for my first show, and you see like in the videos, it looked so shit. But guys, I don't have anybody telling me what to do. Like, I don't have like a business advisor for that sort of stuff. Like, I am literally fucking clue what I'm doing, so I'm just going to try everything and see if any of them stick. And as you may notice, I only do stuff I really like. So like, I loved the, I love the EG. I will never sell the EG. It is dead money to me. Any money I spend on that car is never going to be replaced, and I don't mind. That then brings me on to selling the BMW. When me and my girlfriend at the time broke up, that car reminded me of her every single day. And I knew I was going to be doing some DC5 coilovers and EP3 coilovers and all the other DC5 parts that I want to produce in the future. So I was like, I need a DC5. I want a nice one. I miss my DC5. I had so much fun in that when I was younger. Let's just get fucking another one. I looked around everywhere for a red one. I always wanted a red DC5, and I found one, but it had black interior, and I wanted red and red, and I wanted a completely standard one. I'm being real picky, I know, but I wanted a completely standard one. I couldn't find that, so I spoke to the guys down at Talk GT, and they got me a 2001 B-Pack white one with red interior. Now, I was quite happy with the white because I knew Harv was buying an EK9, and I was like, do you know what, fuck it, we can be white type our friends, yeah! So, now we've got to that. Had to wait 3 months for the DC5 to arrive, so I kept the BMW. When I got the DC5, the BMW just sat in the field, and I was like, no, I'm just going to keep it, it'd be cool to have a nice car, I don't need to sell it. And then it got to the point in my life where I was like, when me and the girl were completely over and done with, and I knew she'd moved away, I was like, do you know what? I don't need the BMW, like, it's a waste of money. I'd like to move out. I'd like to get my own house. What can I do? I bump my deposit up, get rid of the BMW. Sold the BMW, actually the guys at George Kingsley, I think the garage is called, they sold it for me. Thank you guys, you fucking diamonds. Honestly, it was amazing, you guys are the fucking best. They sold the car for me, and they only took a tiny bit of commission. They were amazing guys, so I got decent money for that, and I chucked all that in my house deposit. The DC5 then started to be used as my test car for the coilovers, and as you guys know, I always try and make my product fucking excellent. So that was off the road for a good 6 months, and I was like, fuck me, this is shit. Once again, I'm driving around the Toyota. That Toyota, by the way, is the best car in the world. I was like, fuck me, I'm driving around the Toyota. Finally, I get the Integra done, and I did that video where I spoke to you. I think it was episode 44 of the Honda Diaries, and yeah, I did that video, and I cleaned the car, and I spent loads of time cleaning it. I drove it home, and an assault truck chucked a load of shit in it. And I was like, I've just had all this painted, I've just had, fuck's sake, like, I was gutted. And I was like, do you know, I went round Dad's the next day, because I'd moved out at this point, I was living in my own house. Gone back to my parents the next day, I watched football with my dad. And I said to him, like, I'm so fucking angry driving that every day, because I'm just so scared it's going to get wrecked, I don't want it to get ruined. And he said, well, why don't you look at getting another car, like a cheap, set yourself a £1,000 budget, get yourself another car. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to get for £1,000? Honestly, like, I was like, oh, maybe an MB6 or something like that, you know, it's got a good engine in it. And he was like, what about a Legend? I used to have a Legend, why didn't you get a Legend? That was a nice car. I was like, I ain't getting a fucking Legend for £1,000, are you crack, man? So I looked, and I found a fucking Legend. I found this exact car that we're in now on Gumtree. And I texted the guy a couple of times, he didn't reply, so I was like, fuck this, I'm buying that car today. So I rang him, and I said, yo, have you got the Legend? He was like, yep. I was like, cool, I want to buy it. How much will you take? And it was up for 1.1, and he went, I'm not taking any less than £1,000. I was like, alright, I ain't gonna argue with you. Yeah, and I literally drove down there that day, handed him the money, and that brings me here, really. The next car I now have as well is my CRX. As you guys know, I bought another Legend, but that was only for the indicator. That's just going to be a parts car, donor car, whatever. I don't even really count it. I now have the CRX as well. They used to belong to Richard, and then my friend Steve bought it off him, and then I've bought it off him. So it's now back in my garage. That car is going to be a little bastard. I can't wait to start playing with it. I've got the actual parts behind me for it here. I'm going to start building up the engine hopefully on Saturday, and we can, you know, get that little fucker running. Super stoked on that. Why did I buy it? Because I need a track car while the EG gets built. I'm going to be doing the EG properly, and when I say that car, I want it to be on par with the shit you see, you know, flying around on Facebook where people are like, oh my god, that car's the fucking Mac Daddy. I want that to be my car. So that's why we're doing that. And the CRX is I'm kind of gonna let everybody use it on track days and stuff. Like, I know Richard always wanted to do a track day in it, and I feel kind of like obliged as a good friend to let him have a go in my car. Why not? Fuck it. Why not? Obviously, you also know I have the CBR. I bought that motorbike once again when me and my ex-girlfriend were breaking up, because I took that breakup real fucking bad, and I needed something that would take my mind off of her, and it didn't work. But I got a motorbike license and a cool bike out of it. So, you know, shit happens, and then you die. Anyway, I don't know, this is a long video, 30 minutes, fuck. I don't know whether I should do the project cars that never were on the way back. I think so, that could be another video, I think. So guys, I just want to say thank you for sitting through all of this. You've now listened to all my main cars that I actually used on the road. I hope you enjoyed. If you want me to elaborate on any more of the cars and go into a bit more detail, I've got a shit ton of pictures of most of the cars from the FN1. So if you want me to elaborate on any of them and kind of go in a bit more depth, drop a comment down below. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Please hit that like button if you did, and I'll catch you in the next video.